Hi, welcome to this episode of Lightboard Lessons, and today we're going to talk about logging and all the different options that you have for logging on a big IP. And so the first one is the local syslog, and that logs to your hard disk, whether it's a standard disk or a solid state disk. Those logs are going to go to the disk, and if you don't do anything on the big IP, you'll still have logs hitting syslog. And so a lot of the system stuff, pool up and down, any kind of an error, failover messages, all that stuff is there by default. And so you can manipulate that through TMSH or through the GUI. You can change the default log levels for all the different daemons on the box, and as well as add specific filters if you want to narrow down what actually gets logged to your boxes. And so that's local. And of course, anything you're logging to disk is going to slow down performance a little bit because the I/O on disk is only so good. Obviously, it's better on SSD than it is on a traditional disk. But so that's local syslog, and then of course you have remote syslog, and you can do either configuring your remote syslog in the GUI, or you can configure it from TMSH. You can also use iRules to send syslog messages. And so you can do that with HSL commands, or on the log command itself. So these are commands. You can use the HSL commands, or you can just use the log command with an IP. HSL is going to be more performant, because you're going to hit, and not only is it optimized in the code, but you'll hit a pool with HSL, whereas when you're logging to an IP, it's just going to be best effort to that. And with HSL, you have the opportunity to use TCP or UDP. With the log to an IP, it's just UDP 514. And so those are some of your iRules commands available. But beyond just the mechanics of where you can send logs and all that, there's also the concepts of log destinations and publishers and filters and what does all that mean. And so let's just kind of start to, let's start to draw that out. And so if I have a pool of logging servers here, I can wrap that up. And then I'm going to first build an HSL destination, log destination. Okay, and then that will point to a pool. So you configure your pool on the box, and then you configure a destination, a remote HSL destination. And then that will make sure that everything that you're going to send to this destination will hit these pool servers. And then you have some options here. Within this pool, you configure the protocol. So that can be UDP or TCP. And then also there's this distribution type. The default on this is adaptive. And what adaptive allows, what it does is it will set up the connections it needs to any one of these pool members. The negative there is you might get one pool member with more logs than the other. So there's also the balanced. And then the balanced will go ahead and just distribute connections in a balanced way across all your servers. And then there's also replicate. And so if you're familiar with Ken Bacino's iRule from a couple years ago, where you could spray your log messages across a pool of servers, well, this has been that's been productized into a feature in the box now. So you can check the distribution type as replicate, and it will send that message to all the servers in your pool. And so this is the first part of the thing. You define your pool, then you define your remote HSL destination, and then you have other destinations that you can do. And this is where you can configure actually how it's going to be formatted. So you could have Splunk, you could have ArcSight, you could just have the regular syslog, and I think IPFix is another one. So all these different formats, then those would then select your destination. So you have like a formatted destination, and when you configure this, then you'll select your remote HSL destination, which is then pointed to this pool. So that's all your destination stuff. Then you have a publisher. And within the publisher, you can pick one or all of these to send traffic to. So if you don't want to format it in a specific way, you can just pick the pool and send it. Or if you want to format it in Splunk and then send it down to the destination, that you can do that too. It's really your choice, but it can pick any destination from the publisher. And then from the publisher, so you can pick one or more, and so you might have servers to where you're going to send to Splunk and ArcSight, and so you want to be able to manipulate those logs in a particular way as far as indexing them. I don't know, but the options are there for you. And then from the publisher, this is where you have some choices. You can either build filters. I probably can't even read that. You could build a filter. And in the filter, that's where you can select any one or more of the daemons that you want to be able to send to your remote syslog. So maybe you just want to look at APM logs, or you want to look at a specific type of log. You want to look at just the critical logs within the big 3D daemon. This is where you would configure the filters. Or you can use a profile. And so like a DNS logging profile, the advanced firewall manager logging profile, or the ASM logging profile, there are profiles that will pick specific to those modules the logs that would make sense. And so then you would configure the profile to send to this publisher. Or you could, again, do any one of the particular daemons and the critical, or the logging level within these filters, and then come at it from that way. Or you could do both. And so the thing to know with the kind of the whole system, now that we know what the whole system is, the beauty is that say that you want to send all of your logs from all of your profiles to this pool, and you're going to do that for compliance reasons. Okay, so you have a pool for compliance, but then maybe I want another pool of servers, of syslog servers, and their job really is security analysis. And so we don't want to look through every log that's hitting the log servers, but we do want to look at specific logs. And so we can take a different path to where maybe we take a Splunk log destination to a different HSL destination. And then that comes down here. And then we have a different publisher that's going to publish to there. And then we have, say, a specific ASM profile, then we're going to push down here. And so, you can bundle a whole bunch of different publishers and destinations to meet whatever needs for your business, so that you don't have to necessarily go to the same set of log servers and parse through gigs and gigs and gigs of data for a very small subset of logs. And so, this is essentially, logging in a nutshell in the big IP. Obviously, there's a lot more granularity that you can get into, and we'll link some of those resources. But hopefully this has been helpful, and we'll see you out there in the community.